Hello, welcome to today's class where we'll continue from last week discussing about SQL construction and usage. So in this class we will focus on relations, views and some other aspect of SQL. So for joining relationship, usually you can join by using the where clause, and also you can do several other types of join where you try to join two relationship based on a value or some similar values in the rows or columns. So first of all, we need to highlight the different types of join. There is the inner join. The inner join basically is used to select records that have matching values in the same table. And that way, from the left and the right table, it looks at the values that are similar based on the condition you've specified. And we have the left join, which basically selects a record from the leftmost table matching the records from the right table. One thing to note here is that if the records from the left table, if there are certain rows that doesn't match, it returns null. So you will see that in the subsequent slide as I explained further. And we have the right outer join. Basically it selects records from the rightmost table with matching records on the left. And usually when there is, it's just like the opposite of the left join. Basically, if there is no matching record from the left table, it returns null value. So it returns everything but with null value, basically. And the full outer join basically select records from both tables. It selects everything and return. For SQLite, I don't think this function of full join works, so you don't have to worry. I just wanted you to know that this also exists, just for the purpose of information and for you to at least be aware of that. And we will start with some example to show you. So this is an example where we will use the students table and the student cost table to display how you can use the join in writing a different SQL statement or looking for a record or trying to join two or more records together. So let's look at the inner join. As we said earlier, basically the inner join return rows of the table on the left side that matches rows from the right side. It only returns that only. So you can see, let me show you the table again. Let me bring this here. You can see this is the two tables we are using. I can make that a bit bigger so you can see. Come on, okay. Yeah, I think that's a bit bigger. So as you can see, we have the SQL statement says we should select all from students. We should select the course ID and the student name and age from students, where the inner join here is on the student roll number. As you can see, this is the student roll number and the student course tables row number. So these two are what we are looking at. As you can see here, because there is no match, for example, for row number 11, 10, over here, those records are not also displayed. So that is what it means by inner join. So it returns basically where there is match on this table and on this table. So only records having match between the student's roll number and the student course roll number, only those records will be returned. So that is the essence of using the inner joint. Now let's look at the other example. So the left joint, like I said earlier, the left joint will try to look at results or rows that match or columns that match based on the conditions we've set here, and that is the student's roll number and the student course rather, sorry, the student course roll number and the student table roll number. So we have this both match. As you can see now, because if we look at this user, where is this user? Is here. Because there is no match, what is returned in the cost ID is null. So it returns nulls, though all informations are returned, but because there is no match, null is returned here. So that is something you should see. And if we look at the right joint, also uses similar things where for the name, for the student name, you will see we will have some null, and that is because there is no match, as you can see here. Because there is no match, so null is returned. So that is just to explain to you the difference between the right and the left and the inner joint, so you can see with this example. So at least that way you have a better understanding of what it means. And now we move to views. Views usually are used especially in the industry where when we have complex SQL queries to write, and you don't want to tamper with the table because you don't want to mess with it. You don't want to create something that will create problems in the database. So you can use views to test your query to see how it will look like. It basically views provide you an abstract view of your table. So you can even specify it can be in some database management system. It can be a read-only view, or you can allow modification to the table actually that you're trying to create the view. So that is why we use view. And the syntax is usually to create view with the view name as query. We can see that with an example here. So we can create a view named the database lectures as select. So now this ask is basically used to specify what the view should have. What are we trying to create in the view? So we want to select room, we want to select hour, weekday from lectures table where course is equals this and period is equals 3. And by doing that, we've created this view named DB lectures. Now we can also select from this view that we've created. So you can select weekday from DB lectures view where room is equals HC1. So you see it's an example where you don't want to mess with table, but you create an abstract view of that table in order for you to do some manipulation. So this is important for you to know, and you can try some more exercises at your free time. And I think in the lecture exercise or maybe in the weekly exercise, I'll add some examples for you to at least get familiar with view and how it works. And the next one is about grouping. So grouping is basically an SQL statement used to group a set of identical data. So you specify the select statement from which table, and at the end you group by whatever column or whatever uh, sorry, whatever column that you want. So let's take an example. Let's say we select teacher and the average number of students. So this is just a key syntax when you want to select average. So the average student from the number of students the teacher is teaching from the given course, we group by teacher. So this would display all the teachers which has average number of students that will specify, and it will state them here. So this is just an example to show you, like, it takes the average from this. You can see this is the number of students, but the average number of students is selected. We have 162 for example. So this is an example of where you have a select statement, but you group them by a particular column, where we've grouped them as a teacher, for example, in this one I'm showing you here. And we have order by clause. So order by clause is basically used to sort column records. So it can be in ascending order or in descending order. So the expressions, you can be all the expressions I've been showing you in the previous exercises and lectures, where you can have expressions as you want, whatever result you want, what the list of table you want in the result. Where condition, basically you state, this is optional of course, but you state what you want to receive, the conditions for what you want to receive in the what you want to retrieve in the result. And you can either display this in ascending order or descending order. I will show you that on how we can use the order by clause to sort. So this is an example of that. So let's say we select name milliseconds and album might from tracks, and we order by ascending order, and the milliseconds we order by descending order. You can see that from the display here, it shows the name of the album, and you can see that the album ID here is basically in ascending order, as you can see, and the milliseconds here is in descending order. So that is just an example of how to show you that you can use order by to sort columns. Basically, you want to sort the result in the column either in descending order or in ascending order. So this is the example to explain how order by clause work. There'll be a different kind of exercise just to test your knowledge of SQL and also to get you more familiar with SQL before we go further into a little bit complicated SQL statements. So this is just a way for you to at least understand how to use the order by clause. And then next class we will go into more a little bit complicated SQL statement and probably discuss about normalization. Thank you.